Welcome to Creation in the 21st Century. I'm your host, Carl Baugh, founder and director of the Creation Evidence Museum in Glen Rose, Texas. The title to today's program may be a little startling to some of our viewers, and we have people worldwide, academics, educators, scholars, farmers, parents, pastors, teachers, people of all stripes and all climes who watch the program. And the title may be a little surprising to some of those academic guests. The title is Science Supports Recent Creation. I want to show you data today unimpeded by the camouflage that normally attends scientific productions. We want to get to the very core of evidence, and I want to show you that science genuinely supports recent creation as opposed to long-age creation and long-age evolution of biological systems and the universe itself. I hope we can cover this subject today. Recently, I stood before a group of students, high school students, and I began by saying, I want to show you my genuine gold Rolex watch. Now, I produced a program on this recently, and I hope you watched that program. But as I stood before those students and said to them, would you like to see my genuine gold Rolex watch? Well, all eyes were riveted on the watch I took off my arm. Then I explained quite deliberately that actually this watch, while it appears it keeps time quite well, it's a reference to our place in universal history. When I described the details of this very expensive-looking watch, the students learned from the dictates of what I was saying that this really is a genuine imitation, gold-colored Rolex-type watch. And I bought it at Walmart. It's not intended to be a knockoff of a Rolex index, but I bought it at Walmart for $11.87. And it keeps time quite well, probably as well as very expensive watches. But the students were absolutely dismayed when they found, after handling the watch and expressing awe over the privilege of getting to hold a genuine gold Rolex watch, and then finding that it's a genuine imitation, gold-colored Rolex-type watch, they handed it back to me, and they were dismayed. I think if we were to take a look at the academic publications and the educational profile of what is paraded as genuine science, we too, quite often, would be dismayed. Now, I am not for a moment disparaging the wonderful scientific role that has been played in our generation. I've personally known individuals involved in scientific research in the space program, engineers, physicists. I know biologists and botanists and paleontologists and zoologists, firsthand, first name, who have made major contributions to our total sum of knowledge, which is what the scientific program is aired to produce. In fact, were it not for the genuine work of brilliant engineers, some of whom I know personally, great physicists, some that I know personally, tremendous mathematicians, some that I know personally by first name, were it not for their tremendous work, we could not have gotten to the moon and back, and we could not have miniaturized the program to the point where the payload was light enough to get us there and safely return our astronauts to planet Earth. Were it not for those brilliant calculations and long hundreds and thousands of hours of deliberate scientific research, that would not have been possible. I'm not for a moment disparaging the genuine scientific research. In fact, in physics and chemistry and in engineering and electronics, we all have benefited from the great scientific research. The laboratory analysis of biology, and especially microbiology, which, when relieved of the tapestry of propaganda and the presuppositions of a mindset of naturalism, demonstrate a marvelous, incredible complexity that could not have arrived by naturalism. So when we really reduce the essence to the data, to the genuine unmanipulated mathematical formulae, when we reduce the entire research to actual physical properties that can be calculated, that can be reproduced, put it all together, science supports recent creation. Now, in the foreground, we have a symbol of the hands of God controlling and supporting planet Earth. In fact, God, who at sundry times and in divers manners spake in time past unto the fathers by the prophets, hath in these last days spoken unto us by his Son, whom he hath appointed heir of all things, by whom he made the worlds, being the express image of his person, and upholding all things by the word of his power, when he had by himself purged our sins, sat down on the right hand of the majesty on high. I want you to know that the creation is still under the control of the Creator. And genuine science, as we're going to observe today, supports recent creation. Let's take a look at the standard theory of naturalism that explains how we got here and where we are in Earth history and universal history. This is called the Tower of Time and is found in standard publications. But I want you to know that there are data showing very clearly, and scientific research projects showing very clearly, that all of these layers, which presumably began about 600 million years ago, proceeding from the Paleozoic through the Mesozoic to the Cenozoic, all of these sedimentary deposits, which have been publicized as encompassing over 600 million years of time, and a progression in an evolutionary series, arriving ultimately at the best that ever was, the premier example of universal evolution, the mind of man. According to this evolutionary theory, these progressive systematic developments spell out evolution, in essence similar to or taken from the concept of Darwinism or neo-Darwinism. Now, don't let me lose the audience. I want you to understand everything that is said and understand that this applies to how you got here. What is normally not admitted in the literature, but a very well-kept secret, according to the late Dr. Stephen Jay Gould, who was the universal spokesman for naturalistic evolution. There is a secret that has been kept among paleontologists, those who examine this fossil record. And that secret is that, really, the intermediate forms are not there. That each form appears full-blown. It's known basically as the Cambrian explosion, where a tremendous number of life forms appeared as if overnight, full-blown, fully functional, with no intermediate forms from microbiological forms previously, no intermediate forms leading to the next era and the next period or the next introduction of evolutionary progress. Instead, Dr. Stephen Jay Gould stated to the public that this well-kept secret needs to be known. There are no intermediate links. And he proposed punctuated equilibrium or punctuated equilibria. He used it both ways. Niles Eldredge, his successor, has used it both ways, meaning that the graduations and the intermediates occurred so rapidly you can't find them in the actual fossil record. Now, wait a moment. That's camouflage. That's sleight of hand. That is not scientific.